Prepare for teleport!
Alright, welcome to Warmonger 21. This is... Wait, did I say 21 or 22?
You sure did.
Did I mean to say 21?
No, it's 22.
Oh, it's 22. Damn it! This is Warmonger 22. Tonight we're going to talk about the new missions from the Siege of Cthonia. I guess they're not really new anymore. Like, how long has it been? Cthonia. It's been like a month.
Yeah, it has been a couple of months, yeah.
So I think we've played pretty much all of these. There's only 5. There's not 6. There's only 5. You're all 1 or 2.
Yeah, I think we played 3 out of the 5 the other day.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Was that a Danny's thing?
Yes, it was, yeah.
Okay. And then we've played a few at Briz 30k as well. So yeah, they're interesting missions. Before we get started on that though, what are you working on, Michael? What are you painting? I know you've been painting lots of Randy shit for him.
Yeah. So I've been playing some Space War stuff. I've had a real go slow on my own stuff, actually. I've been super busy with other stuff.
Is it because is it other stuff that rhymes with Alder's Nate?
Yeah, Baldur's Gate has taken over a lot of my fucking time lately. So I've got I'm looking at a half-painted Fulgrim on my desk now.
All that spellcasting and sword fighting and sucking demon dick to get your soul back and shit.
Yeah, all the good things, all the important things in life. But I am looking at my half-painted Fulgrim. I've done a little bit on extra because I got a big deadline now.
Well, you need to get Fulgrim painted up ASAP so we can play some Fulgrim versus Ferris Manus games.
Yeah, so I can cut that dude's head off.
Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, we were talking about that the other night, doing the maths on it. It's possible.
Yeah, definitely possible. Yeah, and if we were playing a whole bunch, if we're just gonna throw down with our Primarchs, then I'm just gonna use this hammer. However, if we were playing some sort of narrative group of linked games, then I'd have to fight you without a hammer, just like with we'd have to do stats up for a giant wrench.
Just a wrench, yeah.
+1 strength. Maybe.
And also, if you take Gorgons and Morlocks versus Phoenix Guard, because
yeah. But they're not going
to.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, in an open game, when the Morlocks versus VE Phoenix Guard. Well, I don't know. Phoenix Guard. Oh, see, you've been playing them. Well, yeah. Give the Warmonger listeners some feedback on your spear termies, because you painted them up. Fucking just like, these are going to be so good, and we agreed. We both thought they were going to be so good. You're not alone in this. Don't worry, I'm not putting you out there to be shamed. I also thought like the fact that you can force you only hit me on 6s even if you're weapon skill 5
for the first round at least.
Yeah, the fact that you can do that even for just 1 round is fucking huge, and that was what I was basing my field data on, was when I saw that happen, because they, like, Randy charged in his, like, weapon skill fucking 6 Varangian Terminators or whatever, and they got totally stymied.
Yeah, I still rate them. I still think they're excellent. But the problem is taking 10 of them. I've used them at 2 events now. So the first time I took them, it was to play these missions, which will probably, as we talk about, and will come out why they weren't so good, because I basically had too many eggs in one basket because they're so expensive.
And that basket wasn't lined.
So that basket, out of 3,000 points, was about 1,200 points. So it was basically 10 Phoenix Terminators in a Spartan with 3 characters, which is fucking devastating. But the problem is, in a 4-turn game, they come on turn 2, they got 3 turns to actually commit atrocities, and if you don't do that, you're not getting your points back. So I lost a whole heap of flexibility by having that many eggs in one basket. That really killed me in a small turn game.
Yeah.
And then the next time I played them in a slightly smaller game, I just had horrible luck with them. I just didn't make any charges. They couldn't kill a thing. It was just real bad luck. So I'm going to keep going with them and
I feel
see
like
how they go.
If all 3 of those characters had Thunderhammers,
Yeah, that is key. That was one massive takeaway because these guys are exactly that.
Yeah.
These guys just go in, make the squad super, super hard to hit for the first turn, while the dudes with Thunderhammers just fucking go to school.
Just fucking tee off. Yeah. But do you have Thunderhammers on all three of those characters?
Only on 2. However, my takeaway from Danny's event was, after talking with Kat, was, dude, why don't you have a Praetor with a Lightning Claw and a Thunderhammer? And I'm like, that's a fucking great idea, Kat. Why don't I have that?
Yeah, because what's your Praetor got? Just a spear?
No, just a Paragon Blade.
Oh, he's got a Paragon. Yeah. See, the meta's definitely moved. I'm purposely going to run a Paragon Blade Praetor. But I know that's totally against the meta because, like, Thunderhammer is the meta. Like,
well, especially for Emperor's Children. If I get run into combat and there's another dude with and I charge another dude with a Thunderhammer, I'm going at initiative 2. And then if I'm not, I'll just get one of my guys that makes him strike only hit on 6s or 5/6s. While cool, I'll lose him while my other dude goes to town on the unit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it. You need to use those spears to keep people the fuck back, and then your guys just slam Thunderhammers home and just crush half a unit or most of a unit if they can. Because that's definitely like I played a game against what was his name? Fuck, not Reese. I played someone at Briz 30k, and those spear tomies just like ran into just my normal tomies, and they didn't have sonic shriekers or anything, and I was just like, oh shit, and their stabbing was just super ineffective, and my basic weapon skill 4 tomies just killed like half a unit with just power fists and chains.
Yeah, like they're a good unit and they're potentially devastating, except for the fact that you're fishing against Terminators. You're fishing for 6s to get rending and murder a strike, and if you're not pulling in 6s, you're not killing Terminators. And to get the extra neg 1 to hit, you need to have you lose an attack. So you have to figure out what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, 100%. Interesting. So are you gonna keep running them, or are you gonna? Because one of the reasons is these missions are so much different to what we're used to.
Yeah, they are quite different.
And I think like you definitely need to read through them and adjust your list. Like I was like, okay, well, we're gonna play these missions. Okay, cool. I'm just gonna run the same list that I've been running in the old edition and just see how it goes. And I think I played like 2 games with my previous list, and then I switched to running more attacks, and having my line guys actually start on the table and just move onto objectives, because it's just I was just losing games because I couldn't capture as much shit. And the 4 turns as well, like very, very interesting. It really fucks you. Like I played one thing that I didn't adjust was that I didn't bother taking a reserve manipulation, and that totally fucked me in a couple of games. Like the game against Reese at Danny's event, my like 1,500 points on my 3k army like didn't come until turn 4, and they got to do like land, assault, and because I was second turn, they got to land, shoot, assault, and then basically that's all they got to do. It was like half of my army, so that totally really fucked me. I had a couple of games in a row where they didn't turn up until turn 3 and that turn 4 against Reese, and I was just like, fuck, this is so fucking bad. So definitely like stepping into this, that's definitely like a takeaway straight up. If you are going to bring shit on via reserve, you cannot rely on rolling that 3+. Just like
no, because
so many points is just you fucked it, like, you know.
That's the whole mass of it, because the reserves roll isn't adjusted. So if you miss it until turn 4, you could potentially have like 1,200 points off the table, like I could have if I wasn't running Maruskara.
Yeah.
Until turn 4, for 75% of the game,
Yeah.
this shit's just off the table.
Yeah. So definitely take reserve manipulation. There's a couple of things that can do it. I believe the command rhino can do it. It's one of the only things that it can do. And then the
Master of Signals.
That
can really fuck with people.
Yeah, he allows you to re-roll your reserve roll, and then also you can turn on or turn off. If you check the errata, you can turn on or turn off his thing that fucks around with reserves when they arrive, which can be annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if someone's got a whole ton of units that they're bringing down. The first unit arrives alright, but then on a 4+, like, they're disordered, so you get to place all their where all their shit lands. I think within 24 or maybe 18 inches of the original landing. So
yeah, that's brutal.
You get to just totally fuck people off. And then there's the Land Raider Proteus as well, has an Explorator Array, which I think allows you to re-roll as well for reserves. Or is it a +1?
I'm not sure, but yeah.
People can look into that in their own time.
But yeah, that manipulation of reserves is super fucking important, because you can't even afford to have it on for half the table, half the game.
Yeah, exactly. You want it turning up like as soon as fucking possible, especially with like Terminate. Like the amount of shit that I've been teleporting, that's actually led me to change how much I teleport now. I think I'm going to go from double Warmonger back to just single Warmonger. But now that I've got Morlocks, they're just so survivable. I can just like so 5 Morlocks, a Warmonger, and the Ironfather all in Terminator armor. They've got like graviton guns. They've got like they've got their line because they've got that banner. Until someone fucking inevitably snipes your banner out, their line as well. So in like these missions, so good. Just like land on a point, fucking start scoring points straight away, like as soon as they land, and also just like and then I can go back to my original plan for my 2x10 man Cataphracti squad, which is just stomping across the field. Because that's how I started, is just them walking across the field, getting just fucked on by everything. And then I started teleporting them. Now I'll just teleport just like a smaller task force, like that's only a quarter of my army instead of half my army.
Yeah, that's a brave move.
And then for some of these missions, if those 2 10-man Cataphracti are troops, are troops and gain line from Bride of the Legion, then they can just walk forward onto objectives while my tax, like, and they can just move forward claiming objectives, and then my tax can just follow up and seize them after them and shit like that. Yeah. All right. Anyway, so you've been working on. Wait, what did you actually say that you're working on?
I've got a bit of a half-painted Fulgrim on my desk at the moment.
But you also got into some sort of like big boy game one-upsmanship. Like
I'm totally committed to 2 big boy game.
2?
Yeah. So I've got a 4,500 point army. So against a mystery. Well, I know who it is against Dono, but I don't know what he's got yet.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because I saw him selling all of his shit the other day, and I'm like, bro, you're selling your army. Like, what are you? We're having a game, and he's just like, no, I'm making a new army. Maybe I don't know what it'll be.
You thought you were off the hook. You were just like, oh, phew. Did you wipe your head and go like, oh, anyway, back to Baldur's Gate?
Yeah. Well, so anyway, while we were drinking heaps of beers, we're like, at the end of the year, Geigenhive, let's have a fucking mega game.
Yeah.
So we're going to play a game that's pretty much going to be a rematch, but except I'm going to take Fulgrim, a Mastodon, and 20 Sunkillers.
Well, in one unit.
Yeah, I'm going to do it. And it's going to be 4,500 points. I think we can just fit. We haven't done the maths, but I'm not sure if that's street legal, but we're just going to do it anyway.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
And then,
but he's got he does have a son. He's still got a massive Sons of Horus army.
Oh, he's probably bringing that.
Or
he might be working on something new, which I think he said he might be.
Sons of Horus is just a distraction, I think, because he's not going to go. I don't think he'll go back to them. Well, I don't know. He apparently just like he's one of those like Robbie style people who just paints an army like in a few days.
Yeah,
or like But with,
So if
but
he's got
not a
months, he's got
Ryan
like
style
till
person.
January.
Yeah.
And then after that, I had a phone call on a lazy Sunday afternoon from Danny.
Oh yeah.
And he's just like, I heard you think you're a big man, and I heard you think you like fucking big games. And I was like, who have you been talking
Wait,
to?
when are you gonna play this?
This is like Eye of Horus weekend. This is
like the
Geigenhive.
second game.
Yeah, so one will be probably on
the
a Friday, and one will
day?
probably be on a Sunday.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, all right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. So,
Yeah.
for people coming to Eye of Horus Gone, it will be open from like midday on the Friday,
Yeah, so Danny's just like,
which is
I
Australia.
think you're
Day
pretty.
as well.
Yeah, he's just like, so you think you're pretty hard, can't I? And I was just like, no. And he's just like, oh yeah, you do. I was like, no, man. He's like, yeah, fucking okay. That's not how it went down. But anyway, long story short, now then I'm going to play a 5,000 point game against Danny, and he's going to paint a Mastodon, and he's going to take Mortarion, and we're going to have a fucking big wave battle.
Why didn't you just have? I hesitate to suggest this, but if you found a fourth big boy, and then Dono paid another 500 points, then you could all play a 20k game.
Ooh, shit. I don't know if the world's ready for that level of shit.
You might need like a table slave, or a game slave to help you, like just like a third person in each team who just helps.
And it'd
you
have to
move
be
shit.
like a 6x8 or some fucking insanely big table.
Yeah, definitely a 6x8. Yeah. Well, that's
probably
what
achievable.
that's what your big boy game's going to be on anyway, isn't it? 6x8.
Yeah, it'll be on a bigger. I don't know.
we'll
We
have-
haven't discussed that.
There's definitely going to be there'll be at least 2 6x8s and 1 6x6.
Yeah, well, I've got I got the 6x6 square table. That's probably good for 5k.
Yeah. Yeah, for 5k. Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll finesse that closer to the date. But yeah, there's going to be some big boy games going down range.
Day 2 big boy games. Why not celebrate your hangover with a 5k game? All right. Okay. Oh, what happens if somebody is? Do you know what Danny's list is? First, hold on. I've got questions. Do you know what Danny's list is? Has he told you what he's taking?
It's going to be Death Guard. All I know, everybody knows what I'm taking, so I'm at a disadvantage. All I know that I'm adding to my army is 20 Sunkillers, a Mastodon, and Fulgrim.
Yeah.
I know.
I reckon
Danny's taking Death Guard.
Danny's
and
bringing
Mortarion.
Danny's bringing 3k for the event. I reckon. Do you know what else he's bringing? It
Wow, what?
rhymes with Breather Mighton.
Oh, Jesus, fuck! I didn't even think about that.
How much?
Fuck,
How many
you better
points?
not.
How
You
many
better not.
points?
You can't fit a Reaver,
You
you can't fit a Reaver, a Mastodon, and fucking Mortarion in a list.
Can you not? Yeah, Mortarion
Nah.
just. Oh, yeah, yeah, because Reaver Titan is an allied slot, so he takes Primarch slot is Mortarion. His super heavy slot or whatever is the Mastodon, and at 4k you can take a Mastodon, right? And then he takes 1500 point Reaver Titan.
All I'm gonna say is that's pretty fucking dog. And he's not that kind of guy, so definitely not happening.
You reckon? Okay. Because that's all I'll say is Danny's definitely been talking about Reaver Titans. Just muttering about them a lot lately. I don't know.
Well,
Does he earn
better
any
not.
28 mil Reaver Titans? I think he does.
I think he does.
That's the problem with the
Fuck.
5k. That's the problem with the big boy game. Like,
Well, I might just have to have one on standby if that's the case.
how long do you reckon it takes you to play a big boy game? Because I want to have like
Man, we're knocking 3,000 points out pretty quick.
Yeah,
But that was 4-turn games. I don't know. It'd be interesting. I don't think I've played a game that big in this edition, so it'd be interesting to see.
Well, okay, there we go. Like themed around Cthonia missions, which is the theme for tonight's episode. What's the biggest points do you reckon you'd want to throw around, given that it's only 4 turns?
Yeah,
Do you
I
think? Because
honestly think
we've
that
been playing big boy
three,
points as we've been playing like well not big boy. We've been playing 3K, which is like what most people seem to 3K to 25. I'd say most people seem to think 3K is like the standard.
yeah, even I think that's a bit big for this. I reckon these smaller sort of games where
Like
it's all
2K.
about controlling objectives really lend themselves to Centurion. So I kind of think the
Yeah.
smallerish games suit this format a bit better. From playing big games, I feel that smaller armies would be more suitable.
Yeah, lower the stakes a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, like you said, if I had have read the players pack and understood the missions, it probably wouldn't have changed my army selection, but I probably would have been prepared for some of the little differences in play that you have to make, and maybe some of the choices, like not running Maruskara, having one turn of your shit off the board is not necessarily tactically advantageous all the time.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, well, hopefully people can learn from our mistakes. So, I mean, the reason I wanted to sort of talk just what we've been working on and games we've played lately is because I knew some fucking Siege of Cthonia related shit would come up. I think like the last Warmonger episode we did was Inductii, and we talked about Inductii. Now, I've played Inductii and the Iron Hands ones, and I don't like them. Compared to tax squads, like just a basic tax squad, like the Iron Hands one, you have to roll a d6. Well, first of all, you can't. The big thing for me is you can't join an apothecary to them.
Yeah, that's huge.
Can't join a tech marine. I probably wouldn't join a tech marine to them under, except for certain circumstances. But you can't not being able to join an apothecary to them, and so that you can't make use of that 4+ field no pain on an objective. In these Siege of Cthonia missions where you want to be like starting, you need to, some of them you need to, like the one that I seem to fucking always play is where you have to start your turn on an objective, so you need to be resilient to score.
Yeah.
So missions like that.
That's the interesting thing. It's at the start of the turn, not the end of the turn, like with a lot of other those missions.
Exactly, yeah. And we'll get to that mission, whatever the fuck it's called, because I seem to have played like 4 of that one. Not being so the Iron Hands guys, they also can't run because they're heavy. The blasting doesn't really ever come up that much. Like just this downside of heavy not being able to run is really fucking annoying. And then this and then on top of that, so they don't get Fury of the Legion either. They lose that. They can't make best use of their Heart of the Legion or whatever the fuck because you can't join an apothecary to them, so they just get a 6+ feel no pain. And then, and then they've got this fucking stupid brain thing where they can kill themselves. So there was at least one mission where I was holding 2 objectives, and I was about to score on them, and then I rolled a fucking 1. And it was like they take d6 wounds or whatever the fuck it is, and then you take armor saves, and both squads just fucking killed themselves with like their fucking weaponized autism, and just like died before they could score because you do it at the start of the turn. So it's like,
that sucks.
Cool. Well, that's fucking great. And then like when you actually do roll a ballistic skill 5, weapon skill 5. I mean, I played them like 3 or 4 games, maybe 4 or 5 games. When you do roll that fucking thing, you're almost never in a chance to really make the best use of it. Like, I don't know. If you get lucky, if you consider yourself a lucky person, maybe those things won't happen to you. But it's just so annoying, like losing a game because they just fucking fuck themselves because they're just inferior fuckwits.
Yeah.
And then the fact that they can't Fury the Legion is fucking horseshit. Like attack squad, they're also support squad, so you can't just take them as tack. So I have to run prior to the Legion, so that I can run my, because I was just using my Mark III tactical guys with chain base. But to actually run them, I had to change back to a Pride of the Legion so I could run them as non-compulsory troops.
And just having random stuff, not being able to count on things, is just really frustrating.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So I don't know. So that's my feedback on Inductii from the Inductii episode. Have you played against any, or you haven't run them? Have you?
I haven't run them. I probably would run the Emperor's Children ones. I don't mind them because they're basically a despoiler squad that's got access to countable weapons. They're not bad.
Yeah, in that case, yeah, they're pretty good. If you can give them a like breaching 5+ fucking axes or whatever.
Yeah, so I probably will make a squad eventually. But after 20-some killers...
Yeah, have you played against any? Like, you've played tons of games since I last recorded.
No, actually, I haven't played against Inductii.
Haven't?
No.
Crazy.
No.
I've seen a few people run them, but I haven't played against them. Like, I know some people at Danny's, I'm pretty sure we're running them.
Yeah, you're the only ones I can think of that I've actually seen, though.
What are the Blood Angels ones like? Like, Macca said that he's running Blood Angel. He might run some Blood Angels Inductii, yeah. Oh, fuck, did you know Mac is doing Blood Angels as well?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, everyone's on the Blood Angels train. Michael John, Ed Nihilator, you, Macca. Macca's doing his Cygnus Prime there, and they're being based to match his fucking unholy fucking demon army I never want to have to ever play against again.
Nice. Well, no, mine's going to be completely different. Mine's a gun line.
Yeah, and yours is Terra,
Siege of Terra, right? Yeah, Siege of Terra themed gun line.
Yeah, okay. So they're different enough as to not be like, here's a Cygnus Prime. Like, if there's Cygnus, you'd expect.
Yeah, it's not like there's some secret Blood Angels build that's the best fucking build ever, and everyone's doing it.
Yeah. If you're basing it off just like shit from Cygnus Prime, remember how they get like all the artillery and all the Legion fucking recon and the artillery, and they're like, hey, you guys just fucking go off on your own.
Just do the thing.
And they get into like a bloody war in the forest.
And I think that was like the book, the Mastodon was introduced in, like, there's like, oh yeah, they drove in a Mastodon. Everyone's like, oh, what's a fucking Mastodon?
Oh, what's a Mastodon? Yeah. I really want to do it. Like, one day, I've got a plan for a diorama based around something that happened at Cygnus Prime. But they have to release a model there first. The Custodes Eclipse class fighter or interceptor or whatever the fuck it was called. Because in that battle, one of the Custodes gets like his fucking leg cut off or some shit, and then he returns back to. Because remember, they just crashed the fucking shit. They just crashed the red tear or the red tier. The red tier.
I think it'd be tier.
Red tier. They crashed the red tier into the planet, and so anyway, this Custode gets his fucking leg cut off, and he gets like medevaced back to the ship, and he's just like, just seal it up, and then fucking stick me in a fighter, and then for the final battle, like, he gets an Eclipse class fighter, and then him and like the Custodes fighter, and then him and what's his name? Fucking Blood Angels guy.
Oh, Sanguinus?
Yeah, Sanguinus. I was thinking about Custodes so much I totally forgot Sanguinus' name. Him and Sanguinus like have like a fucking like Lord of the Rings, Gimli and Elven guy battle.
Legolas.
Yeah, Legolas battle together in the sky with like the Custode flying a jet and Sanguinus just flying around together. So I want to make a diorama cool. Where it's like fucking. Or it's an Eclipse class fighter inverted upside down, giving thumbs up to Sanguinus, who's also fucking like flying but on his back, giving the thumbs up to the pilot. Imagine how cool that would be. Anyway, yeah.
I want to see that.
That was a long fucking insane story. I've been reading these rules so hard, like fucking it's broken my memory banks. All right, we need to get let's get onto the missions. So, so while researching this episode as well, it's worth noting we went back and had a look at the original rules, because there is a rule in these missions called sudden death. Is it called?
Yeah, there's this special rule which is very different to the traditional rule.
Yeah, so in Siege of Cthonia, there's a box that says sudden death. There's a rule if you go back to the original rulebook, the 1785 gram main rulebook. There's a rule called sudden death victory. So I'll read out what it is in the normal rulebook, and then we'll tell you what it is in the Cthonia rulebook, because it is different, and I fucking hadn't even realized that was the case. Anyway, so in normal missions, A victory point game will not finish before the agreed turn limit. However, it is possible to achieve a sudden death victory in a victory point game in the following circumstances. If one player concedes the battle, the game ends and a crushing victory goes to their opponent. So I don't know how you work that out in a campaign. Usually you just say, like if it's, you
kicked my shit in.
Yeah, you say, like if they ask for points, like if I'm running a campaign and it's based off, victory points and campaign points and shit, and I'm writing the score on the board, if somebody comes up and goes, oh yeah, I won, they conceded, I go, okay, cool, how many points did you get? And they go, I don't know, because you conceded the game. And I'm like, yeah, well, you fucking have to write a score down. Like, go and figure out a score. I guess, like, usually it's however many points they'd made so far and maybe, like, how many more they could get or whatever. So just think about that. In a campaign, you can't just go, oh, I rage quit the game, you win. Like, you need to at least say, you win, let's discuss how many points.
Yeah, the points matter.
Yeah. Okay, so, if a player concedes a battle, the game ends, the crushing victory goes to their opponent. Or, if at the end of any game turn, one player has no models left on the battlefield, their opponent automatically wins. Using units occupying a building or embarked in a vehicle still count as being on the battlefield. Yeah, okay. So, however, in these missions, Siege of Cthonia, the mission thing says, if at the end of any game turn, any player has no models on the battlefield, the battle immediately ends regardless of the number of turns that have been played. Models that are in reserve do not count as being on the battlefield. However, models in a unit that is falling back or embarked in a model with the transport subtype or in a building or fortification do. If a battle is ended due to sudden death rule, then the victor is still decided by the victory points scored up to that point in the battle, but the player that still has models on the battlefield scores an additional VP. So it is possible, especially in some of these games, to just get like 4 points at the start of the game, get wiped out, the enemy gets like 1 point, and maybe they slay your warlord, so they're on 2, and then they win, and then they end up having shit
still
left,
winning.
So they're on 3. Yeah, and so it is possible. So this definitely is something you need to consider, because it's very much like the old Shadow Wars missions. Except you do get an extra point if you're left on the table and you wipe out the opponent. So
yeah, it would suck to wipe the opponent out before your last turn where you were meant to score like 3 points. And you're like, oh, fuck, I just realized I didn't get to score my 3 points and I tabled you. Fuck, I lose.
Yeah. Battle immediately ends regardless of the number of turns that had been played. Yeah. So you could wipe someone out on turn 2. They could have sat on 2 objectives both of those turns and have 4 points. And you've got 1 point from slaying their warlord. 1 point for, well, whatever. We'll go through the submissions too, but that's just
because there's different secondaries.
Yeah, that's an important mission an important fucking thing to consider just while we're talking about these missions as well, because a lot of them are pretty tight on points. Okay, so this just uses like obviously the start of the first like whole bunch of pages is just like the usual horseshit about how to set up terrain and stuff. Have you seen how they suggest setting up terrain?
No, I didn't read that bit. Because we were just running, because we were already on pre-set up tables.
Yeah. But apparently, if you meet for like a street game, then it tells you how many pieces of terrain you should have, and then it also tells you in what order. Like you roll off and you put down the terrain like one piece at a time until both players are happy.
Oh, that's cool. I like that. That's some old school, old style.
Yeah, some like go around some random person's house for a game. Tells you how to do it. But then again, if you go around someone's house, generally they've got a table set up by the time you got there, right?
Generally.
If they know what they're doing, yeah, they've pre-arranged all their deployments and shit. Yeah. Okay, so now these missions are very nice. One of the things I will say is that they've made especially the deployments. They've cut those right back. There's only 3 deployments, and they kept the 3 best ones. They got rid of the fucking
agreed.
The annoying corner to corner one, the diagonal one that no one could ever fucking work out where to deploy.
Yeah, there's maths to that, but I forget it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no one can ever remember the maths. There's fucking ambush, which was just a total fucking ball ache. If you were getting ambushed, you were just basically fucked most of the time, especially if you played against people with a lot of tanks or shooting. And then there was which is the other one? The fucking super annoying one with the little tits at each end, the little tit deployments, the little triangles.
Oh yeah, I remember
the
that.
Small
Yeah,
tits. Yeah, fucking that. Imagine playing that against the demon army, like I did against Macca's demon army.
Yuck.
Yeah, so they got rid of those fucking ones, which are the most annoying ones. They kept the good ones. So hammer and anvil, which is the 20, you play lengthwise and 24 inches deployment. The normal one, just classic Warhammer Fantasy style battle line, and corner to corner with the 18-inch diameter central cutout bit. So very nice missions. Glad they kept like the good maps. They didn't try and force those fucking old shitty maps. I think some of these missions would be fucking like totally insane as well. Like imagine if you play it like trying to seize objectives if you're being ambushed. Like there's just fuck all table to actually like you'd be in close combat first turn. And then there's 5 missions instead of 6 with Crucible of War, which I think is the one that I always end up playing, right? Is that the one where you have to...
Well, that's the first one. That's 1 or 2, so you're probably more likely to play that than any other one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, this is... I haven't actually... This is the one that I only played a couple of times. Yeah, okay, so... now, there is a bunch of special rules. Now, did you know there's a specific order for declaring all your reserves and shit as well? Like,
no.
So, once train's all been placed, both players should roll off. Player that loses the roll off must then declare if they intend to make any deep strike assault, flanking assault, subterranean assault, drop pod assault, or other similar special deployments from reserves, and which units will be doing that. So they have to tell you.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Once they've been noted on the player's army roster, player that won the roll-off must declare if they intend to make a deep strike assault, flanking assault, subterranean assault, drop pod assault, or other similar special deployment from reserves, and which units from their army roster will be committed to these actions. So the loser has to basically tell you, oh yeah, so I'm deep striking with this, I'm outflanking with this, I'm Mario scouring with this, and these are just in reserves. And then you get to be like, and chin stroke. And then you then have to then say which of yours are doing what. Most people already fucking know, right? But you do. It is interesting that there's this whole phase where you have to like declare all your shit.
I struggle to think of a game where I haven't done that anyway with somebody. Just go, hey, all this shit's going in reserve.
Usually you just say when you're deploying though. Usually you like you go, okay, I just deploy you say I'm going first. I'll deploy my stuff, and then I go, and now this stuff's gonna deep strike, and then they would then put all their shit down and be like, oh, and this stuff is deep striking and outflanking.
Yeah, okay.
But you're supposedly, so like, not I'm saying that not that I'm suggesting we change what we do, but if somebody does ask you like during deployment, like that's why, because it's actually written.
What is the proper way?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is high table manners. In some events, you'll be forced to play according to the rulebook, exactly. Okay, so so declare reserves, blah blah blah. Okay, deciding victor. So there's in any core mission, the following secondary objectives will always be in play. So every single one of these missions we're about to talk about, they all have these 5 secondary objectives in play. So you need to remember that because it doesn't actually specify on each mission so in the normal missions, it'll say which secondary missions are in play. This has all 5. And I know was it Danny's event?
Some of them would choose, you had to choose a couple.
Yeah, some of Danny's missions you chose 2 instead of just having them all in play. You had to choose 2 and then just sort of work towards them. Okay, so these are Slay the Warlord, which gives you an extra VP if you slay the Warlord. If it's a Primarch, you gain an additional VP, so 2 VPs for killing a Primarch. That's the Warlord. Giant Killer, if you cause a model with a Super Heavy, Knight, Titan, or Lumbering subtype to be removed, then you score 2 VPs. You can only do it once per battle, regardless of the number of qualifying units removed as casualties, though. So if someone takes on
that's a good
Knights,
one.
Yep.
Because it's hard to kill something like that in 4 turns.
Yeah. Last Man Standing. If at the end of a battle a player has more units that are not falling back on the battlefield than all enemy players combined, then that player scores 1 VP. If that player has twice as many units that are not falling back on the battlefield than all enemy players combined, then that player scores an additional VP. So I wonder if you count those for if you wipe someone out. Do you get those free VPs? You must, right? Because you'd have at least double if you table them. So maybe you get those as well as... So if you table someone, you're getting Slay the Warlord. You get 2 points from Last Man Standing because you more than double the amount of shit that they've got.
Yeah, you would get that.
Interesting. And if they had a Super Heavy or something, you'd get 2 points from that. So you could get up to 5 points if you table them on turn... If you do a Darcy and just table someone on turn 1.
Yeah, you'd be working pretty hard to do that.
Break their ranks. Oh, no, if you do table them on turn 1, you get first strike. Break their ranks. If a player causes 1 or more enemy units to have all their remaining models removed as a casualty in their first player turn as the active player, then that player scores 1 VP. If at least one of the units whose models were removed as a casualty was an elites or HQ, then that player scores an additional VP.
Ooh, so 2 up for grabs by wiping out something hardcore.
And then the last one is First Strike. If a player causes an enemy unit to be entirely removed as casualties, units that fall back off the... Oh, wait, has this been errated? I think this has been errated. I think they might have errated this First Strike bit out of the game. Because both of these rules basically are the same thing. Like if you shoot someone off the table...
Well, yeah. Essentially, you just get extra points if that unit is like elites or HQ.
Yeah. But both of them say that. I think that's been errated. Fuck, I should have looked up the errata. I feel like that has been errated. Anyway.
I do remember Macca saying on the night that something had been errated.
Oh, shit. Alright, hold on. Oh, yeah, we just checked the Siege of Cthonia errata. Yeah, page 153 core missions. Secondary objective First Strike. This secondary objective should be ignored and is not used in the core missions. Okay, cool. It's just there for future proofing or something. So yeah, no need to worry about that. So yeah, basically after you add up the primary objective and these secondary objectives, then basically, yeah, you work out, obviously the person with the most victory points is the victor.
Yeah.
If you both have the same, then it's a draw. Okay, cool. So let's get into the missions. The missions are all really straightforward. After we read out the first one, basically they're all the same except for the victory conditions.
Yeah, they just change a little bit.
Yeah, there's very few changes in the rest of the mission setup and everything like that. So, first of all, we might just go through this. Okay, we'll go through the first one, and the other one's pretty much the same. So the very first thing at the start of the mission is the victory condition. So you're not searching around for it; you know it's at the start. Control the field. So at the end of each of the player turns, the active player scores 1 VP for each objective marker they control. Players may also score victory points from the core mission secondary objectives. So we talked about them. And at the end of the game, turn 4, the player with the highest total of victory points is the winner. Cool. Easy. Now, every single one of these missions has this strategic advantage thing, which is basically before beginning setup, the player should roll off. The winner of this roll off gains strategic advantage. And then strategic advantage basically is then used as the person who won that roll, basically. So
yeah, it's just like that. Go first, set up first. Basically.
Exactly.
It's a new name for that.
Exactly, yeah. It's fashionable. It's modern game design. So objectives. The objectives bit basically tells you where you set up the objectives. These are different for each mission, but then pretty much everything else is the same. So before any models are deployed on the battlefield, and starting with the player with strategic advantage, the players alternate Placing objective markers anywhere on the battlefield that's not within any player's deployment zone is at least 6 inches from battle edge and 12 inches from any other objective, and not within any impassable area terrain. There's 3 objective markers, so boom. So you have to put them in no man's land, not within 12 of each other, not within 6 inches of an edge. And then if you remember, at the end of each of the player's turns, the active player scores 1 VP for each objective marker they control. So you basically need there's 3 objectives in the middle of the table, and you have to run onto them and then end the turn on them. And then you most always get either shot or assaulted off them, and then they'll score some points, and then you'll send in your second wave and fucking either take the objective or fail to take the objective.
Yeah.
And do that for 4 turns. You've played this mission. Has it been enjoyable?
Yeah, this one was pretty good. This one was difficult. I think I played Ed's Custodes with this one. So basically it turned into a big free-for-all over one of the central objectives, essentially. So it wasn't bad. It was good.
Yeah, you're basically just like storming these 3 points. Hopefully you have enough stuff to sort of like keep the enemy, have a dreadnought to just keep some tack squads or other line shit from getting onto 1 or 2 of them. And then just try and like get your line shit onto another one. So definitely this is like classic Forest Heresy fucking just waves of men just smashing into each other in like great big assaults. And then vehicles also shooting each other and stuff around them. So yeah, it's definitely you can tell when people are playing this mission, I feel like, because there's always just like big scrums of men.
Yep.
And because it's scored at the end of your turn, it's way more aggressive. The one that I've been talking about earlier is scores at the start of your turn. It's one of those ones, and that's way more like, oh fuck, I've got to sit on here and then be resilient enough to take rounds. Like
get slaughtered. Yeah.
But this Crucible of War, super aggressive. So deployment is all the same. So once all objectives have been placed, the player with strategic advantage must select a deployment zone from the map, set up and deploy their entire army. Once the player with strategic advantage has deployed all of their units, the player without strategic advantage must set up all of their own units in the opposite deployment zone. It's pretty much just the normal shit. And then there's also this rule which like I don't remember seeing. Maybe I just blanked it out because it's not
traumatized.
But it says, if there's no position where the controlling player can legitimately deploy one or more of their units according to the deployment rules for the core missions, those units may be placed into reserves instead. When the fuck would that have ever happened? Has that ever happened? Where you've got too much shit to fit in your deployment?
Well, maybe if you're playing 6,000 points on a fucking 6x4 and you've got... these deployments would let you do it pretty well. But like the titty mission would stop you, not that that's one of the selections.
Yeah. I guess that's, for militia armies. They're just like, I can't fit any more shit on the table. And you're like, oh, well, it has to be in reserve. Okay. And then, once both players have deployed all of their units, the first turn is began. And then the first turn, the player with the strategic advantage takes the first turn unless the opposing player, or the person without strategic advantage, can seize the initiative, in which case they would have the strategic advantage and they would go first. And the mission special rules, core missions all have the reserves mission special rule. Additionally, the player with a strategic advantage may choose to begin the battle with night fighting special rule in effect. Which is only fucking Night Lords players, because they have bought prey sight on all their shit and they just want to hunt you in the darkness.
I took advantage of it when I had that, because I was an assault army, so I was just like, cool, I'm not shooting the first couple of turns, I'm just running.
It's nighttime. Yeah, alright. Well, I've never played against anyone other than Night Lords fucking Buffalo Bill style fucking motherfucker. Oh, I didn't realize you were Buffalo Bill in it on people. That's funny.
Some days.
Sometimes you just get the 44 Magnum out and night vision in your underwear.
Put the lotion on the skin.
Yeah. So this Crucible of War, definitely like one that I feel like it rewards assault based shit, just because you've got to get onto those objectives. depending on how they're deployed as well. Like if they're deployed where the enemy just gets their whole gun line just firing into you, you're fucked. Like,
I reckon there is, because if you look at it, there's only 3 objectives, so there is a skill. There is some strategy in where you place the 3 objectives and what side you set up on.
Yeah.
And that's a really good point that you brought up. Like, yeah, it does if you've got to go as salty, but if you can cover 2 objectives by fire with like las cannon teams or something, while your guys just sit on one objective and just blast people off the other one, you're at a massive strategic advantage.
Yeah, yeah. If they have the strategic advantage and they put their first one in a ruin, you're just like, fuck. You got to put one like right on the open somewhere. Yeah, because this one, like, if you've got strategic advantage, you deploy 2 of the objectives and get to choose.
Yep, and you can just put 2 closer to your side of the table that you're probably going to pick. But in saying that, you could put them all in the middle. Yeah, it's just one of those things. There is definitely some thought processes towards where you put this stuff.
Do you think you should have to, like, place those before you roll for strategic advantage? It seems like a massive strategic advantage to if you have... Well, fuck, what am I saying? It's like, definitely a much bigger...
Well, that's why it's called strategic advantage, because it's not like...
I guess so, yeah.
Because in the other scenarios, yeah, you're right. I'm pretty sure scenarios are placed before you roll for deployments. So, yeah.
And remember, this is a 1 or 2 on the table too. So if you're rolling for missions, there's a higher chance of getting this than other missions as well. So
that's right, yeah. So potentially, if you know the side that you're on, you could put the token so there's 2 basically on your deployment zone. The other person's probably going to put the 1 close to their deployment zone. And then you can basically just cover theirs with fire. If you just set up tactically and just go, yeah, I've got 2 las cannon teams that got range onto the token on your side of the table, you're going to have a bad day.
God damn. Is there anything that gives you a bonus to strategic advantage roll? Because it's not even a roll to go first. Like isn't there some characters that give you a roll to go first?
I know there's ones that give you bonuses to seize the initiative, but I'm not sure. That's a good question, actually. There probably is someone somewhere that does that.
But the thing is, it wouldn't be worded, because this is worded different. This is strategic advantage, you see.
I wouldn't be a prick. I'd just go, okay, it's the roll to see who goes first or second.
Is it though?
I'd give it to him.
As we just discussed, it's more of a strategic advantage than just being able to choose sides and go first. Because you get to choose those 2 out of the 3 objectives.
Well, maybe one of the special characters in this book get to fuck with strategic advantage.
Oh, imagine if it is. Yeah, holy shit. Imagine if it is. Alright, okay, so, Crucible of War. Okay, so, core mission 2, The Heart of Battle. Oh, fuck, I should have read the little fluff bit. So, Crucible of War, so, what we just described. This mission is a clash of armies on open ground, each vying to take control of the field of battle and deny the strategic position to the foe. So, just trying to seize them hills or whatever, or seize those open areas that I can just shoot you off easily. Strategic. Okay, so this next one's called Heart of Battle. 2 determined forces clash in open war, seeking to meet their foe and sweep them from the field. This is war in its most uncompromising form, brutal and unrestrained. Okay, holy shit. So this mission, victory conditions are the Storm Center. At the end of each of the player turns, the active player scores 3 VPs if they control the objective marker. Players may also score victory points from the core mission secondary objectives. Cool. And at the end of game turn 4, the player with the highest total of victory points is the winner. Strategic advantage, roll. Yeah, okay, that's the same on every single thing. Objectives. Before any models are deployed onto the battlefield, a single objective marker is played at the center point of the battlefield. No strategy there, though. Can't use your strategic advantage there.
Nope.
If the objective marker cannot be placed at the center of the battlefield due to the presence of impossible terrain or another obstacle, then the player with the strategic advantage must select a point on the battlefield as close to the center of the battlefield as possible. So if you got to place terrain,
Wow, that could be pretty good. Yeah, you could if there's a brick wall that you can't put it on. I'm just going to put it on the side of the brick wall closest to my shit.
This side of the haystack, yeah. Okay. So if they can't, then the person with strategic advantage must select a point on the battlefield as close to the center of the battlefield as possible, whilst also being outside of any impassable terrain and clear of any obstacle to place the objective. A single objective marker must be placed for this core mission. So there's one objective in the very dead center of the table, or maybe on one side of a haystack on your side if you've rolled well, or maybe on the enemy's side of a fucking fence or something if you've rolled poorly. And then you basically get 3 VPs if at the end of their player turn you control that objective marker. So that's a real fucking insane, like, fucking mega free for all.
Yeah.
Where everyone's just trying to, like, slam into the middle, but also
see, I love the concept of that. I'd love to play that over 6 turns. I mean, there's nothing that says you can't, but like a game like that over 6 turns would be fucking epic.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I've played this one at Briz 30k, and the Storm Center was, you know, those tables that those big, like, tables with layers of foam, so they're built up, and the one with the bridge, and that bridge is right in the middle of the center of the table. So the objective was literally, like, just fucking hold the bridge. So it was just feeding fucking Terminators and fucking shit and Dreadnoughts and shit, like, onto this bridge, just punching people down and shit. It was fucking sweet. Yeah, so you've got all those secondary objectives, and the deployment and all the other shit is the same as well. So, so as you remember, like, those secondary objectives, you can get a few points from there if you're lucky. Killing a HQ unit on the first turn, that'll get you, like, 2 points. If it's the enemy's general, that's 3 VPs. If you just destroy them via shooting.
Yeah, there's definitely some fucking prime targets.
And then, I mean, if you do that on first turn and get 3 VPs off that, that's like holding the objective for a whole turn on your own. And because it's only 4 turns, like, you're just urged to basically just, like, surge on that objective and have a fucking just, like, tremendous mega
just a slaughter fest.
Yeah, I think, like, most of the games that we played, like, because, you know, we were only just sort of playing the first round of games, and no one's really, people are drinking, like, getting drinks before the games and shit. You know, everyone's I've noticed we've all played them pretty, like, people sort of hung back and just shot at each other and shit in the usual way, and then realized, like, a couple of turns in, like, oh fuck, I need to get the objective. So I think, like, I haven't played any games where I've just literally just herded my shit and trying like, at all costs.
I have. Yeah, I just threw everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it turned into a crazy shit show just going after one objective.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because it really, depending on how that is and how the table's set up, that can just be, like, the worst game of your life. Or the best game of your life. Depending on, like, if you're playing against an Iron Warriors army, or, like, a photo list or something like that, where all their dreads, just anything you try and get near the objective just gets, like,
yeah, just turned into some big robo gangbang in the middle.
Yeah. Like, imagine playing that against Cecil's army. Fuck, I don't even know what mission I played against Cecil's photo list. Didn't matter.
Just kill everything.
I just got fucking slaughtered. So yeah, what so you've played this, like, what are the strats? Like, how do you play it? You've only got 4 turns.
Man, like, it depends what the other person does. What's the other person trying to do? Are they holding off some reserves to just try and jump in on the last turn? Do you have the last turn? What are you going to try and do? Because if you've got the last player turn of the game, that's when you want to get in there and, like, take it so you can't get the shot off it. But then do they have units on it? Do they have denial units? So it's one of those ones you have to just read what the other person's doing. Is it just totally unobtainable because they've got, like, 3 heavy weapons teams just covering that token and you just can't get anywhere near it?
Yeah. Yeah, because that's the thing. You're trying to kill their ranged weapons so that you can get onto the objective without getting shot in the face before getting there. Because once you actually get there, then you're scoring. That's fine.
Yeah.
But
this is one of the ones where you probably want to have the last player turn. So you can have some unit with high mobility jump out from behind cover and onto the objective, and then just can't be shot off it.
But then you don't have the strategic advantage there.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah. Do you need it? It's very much you have to read the tea leaves.
The way strategic advantage is worded, it says before beginning setup, the players should roll off. The winner of this roll off gains strategic advantage, and then it says, basically, it just says, player with strategic advantage takes the first turn unless the opposing player. Once all objectives, player with strategic advantage must select a deployment zone. So you have to go first. You have to do those things. You can't just if you don't roll high enough, you don't get to fucking choose. Or even if you roll, you don't get to be like, no, I don't want it. You have it.
Yeah, so which is interesting because you might elect not want to go first in this.
Yeah, so you need shit that's line that can land an objective, take it, fast moving stuff that can strike from out of line of sight and suddenly just get on it and score. Is key shit. That's fucking amazing shit because you're almost certainly going to get just blown off it, or the enemy's going to get up in your shit and assault you off it.
Yep. And this is where, I think you're totally right. And if you're playing these games, you want fast, multiple small units of shit that are tactically flexible just to move out. Oh, I've got 3 different units sitting on that objective on this turn. Well, guess what? You've only got 2 heavy weapon squads, so you'll probably delete 2, but I've still got 1.
Yeah.
So I think there's lots of strategy in how you actually make the list.
Okay, alright, let's move on to the next one. So the next one is Sudden Strike. So this one is 2 forces must seek to take swift control of the battlefield in order to secure a victory. Hesitation will only grant advantage to the enemy, but a bold and committed onslaught will set them on the back foot. Ooh. In order to claim victory in Sudden Strike, players must capture 6 objective markers to accumulate victory points, but beware, as each objective can be captured only once. Ooh-wee. So this mission we played on that 9,000 point game that we played on day 2 at Danny's thing.
Yeah.
So there's basically 6 objective points. So at the start of each of the player turns after the first, active player may select a number of objective markers from amongst those that they control based on the current game turn. The active player scores 1 VP for each objective marker selected, but those objective markers must then be immediately removed and may not be scored again by either player. So on game turn 1, no objectives may be chosen or scored. On game turn 2, a single objective can be chosen and scored. Game turn 3 and all further game turns, 2 objectives may be chosen and scored. So you might be on 4 of them at the turn 2, but you can only score 1. So it's very interesting.
Yeah. It's a bit of strategy, yeah.
But it also means, if you strike at one corner and take that objective and then just move along there, fucking along the line of them, it's pretty fucking good. So, players may also score victory points from the secondary missions, and at the end of game turn 4, the player with the total number of VPs is the winner. And then objectives. So before any models are deployed onto the battlefield, and starting with the player with strategic advantage, the players must alternate placing objective markers, also planting, markers anywhere on the battlefield that's not within any player's deployment zone, is at least 6 inches from any battlefield edge, and is 12 inches from any other objective marker, and not within area of impossible terrain. And you put down 6, so not within the player's deployment zone,
Which is interesting, which is good. So there's a lot of markers in the middle.
Yeah, exactly, So you score it at the start... at the end of each of their player turns after the first. So you do have that turn. It's one where you don't have to start on the objective to score, so you can move on to them.
And then take it away.
Yeah, and then take it away. So that is interesting. It's in the way we played a slightly modified version because we had it was attacker and defender. So the enemy had the points were all across their deployment zone, and then we had to get into their deployment zone and do it, which is because I was teleporting down Ferrous Manor, so it wasn't they're definitely going to get onto the objectives. But yeah, when they're on the middle of the table, it's really interesting because, like, do you just both go around, like, hoovering them up?
Well, that's the thing. You gotta, because if you do, you're probably gonna get no. It'll come down to secondaries. If I get my 3, you get your 3. I think this is one of those ones where you want to try and take somebody else's.
So try and get across the table and fight them. Keep them off any objectives, basically.
Yeah, or use those fast units or deep strikers or something just to try and get onto their stuff.
And just but what do you mean get on? Well, because you can only score 1 there. Remember, I guess on turn 3 you can get more.
Well, yeah. So if they're in position to score 1, like their whole army is moving to their closest one, and you deep strike onto it before they get there and take it on that turn.
Oh, okay.
Then they're like, oh shit! Now I can't score that one. Now I have to move to another one, but I'm out of position. It's going to take me 3 turns to reorientate and get over there.
Yeah.
That shit from their jaws.
Yeah. So if you're teleporting down, you really need to be careful. That's definitely something I found is you got to be careful when you're teleporting that you're in. like your teleport assault is really good because it's like fucking attacking from another dimension with no warning, which is fucking really powerful. But if your line as well and part of your mission is scoring, then if you're not mindful of that, you can just be completely out of position. Especially if you're like a slow Terminator, and not be able to walk onto, not be able to actually get effective any sort of scoring in the game.
Yeah, and you don't want to like move on to an objective and go, oh, I've already scored 1 this turn. Fuck, these dudes have to stand in the open for a whole turn before I can start moving away. So it's interesting. I think there's some strategy into like which ones you're going to go for, in what order you're going to do them in, to lessen your exposure.
Yeah, interesting mission. Because on their turn 1, they're probably going to be able to move onto an objective and just like secure it. So in your turn 2, when you come down from deep strike, you have to fight them off it, which isn't always possible. Sometimes you just get bogged down. So do you just
you can deny it because they have to score it. So
you might just die but is it better to risk that or to take the next objective that they might be able to seize and just seize that and so you're 1 for 1 and then fight them? Is it better to just do that 1 scoring and then fight?
It might be, yeah,
because they might not bother coming. They might not bother coming for you if you've taken the next closest objective to them. Like they're gonna. I guess they're gonna have to move past. Well, it depends on the deployment. So many variables. I need to play this one. Like, I think this might be the only one that I haven't played. Just like normal, 2500.
Oh, yeah, we can try some of these out. I think I have played that one. That one was interesting.
All right.
It was just a bit to remember. Oh wait, can I score this turn? Can I not score this turn? Or can I do 1 or 2 this turn?
Yeah.
It had a few drinks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's another factor. All right, so that was Sudden Strike Core Mission 4. So there's only 2 to go. To claim, take and hold. To claim a victory, an army must seek to hold both their own territory and claim that of the foe. Here, a general must apply both a powerful offense and a solid defense, or be doomed to a stalemate that denies victory to either side. So, victory conditions are all or nothing. At the end of each of their player turns, the active player scores 1 victory point if they control a single objective marker, or 3 victory points if they control 2 objective markers.
Ooh.
Secondary missions and 4 turns. Objectives. So, tell me more about the objectives. Like, what are they about?
So it's the same again. So before any models are deployed onto the battle, each player must place a single objective marker anywhere in the opposing player's deployment zone that is at least 6 inches from the battlefield edge and not within any area of impassable terrain. So the 6 inches from battlefield edges is pretty standard. Being able to deploy into the other player's deployment zone is a bit different. So this is an interesting one.
So in between when you determine which end you're going to have, the strategic advantage person determines which end. But before they go to put down their model, you got to go, no, stop. We need to put objectives down, because almost every time everyone forgets to put the objectives down for this one for some reason. There's another one like it as well in the main missions that we always forget. But you need to put them down before you deploy models. So that means if you have if you have some deep striking shit or super fast moving stuff, you want to put your objective in the open for them, basically, so that you can land near it and seize it. I would say, is that? See, this is another one where
you can cover it with fire effectively.
That's true, but then people in cover can just smash you while you're trying to seize it.
I think it comes
down
to your assessment.
Yeah, you need to be on it. So this is a mission that'd be great if you had a teleporting unit, and then some outflanking shit or something like that. They can drive on. So you put it near an edge. Turn to. Oh, I guess you can't really control how your reserves come down, can you? You couldn't
You're always taking that gamble. Always taking that gamble.
I guess if it's in the middle of the table or 18 inches on or something, you could bring on your side driving shit, land your Terminators, seize that objective, hold your other one at your end, hopefully. That's 3 points. And then turn 2, maybe they get killed, maybe they get pushed off, maybe they don't. Then either if they don't get pushed off and don't get killed, then you just seize another 3 points, or your outflanking Land Raider comes on and puts more troops onto the objective. Something like that. Or you just deep strike down 3 or 4 units and engage everybody nearby while also holding it.
Yeah, it's one of those ones. What are you going to do? Are you just going to sort of sit on yours and wait for them to come to you? And when they do, just blast them off and get more units, get attrition, get first blood or something?
Well, I'll tell you what, dude. With only 4 turns, if you're an army where all of your guys are just on foot, and you don't have any kind of teleporting or deep striking shit, and you're playing long edge, and you've got to run 24 inches all the way down there, make sure you put your objective right on the edge of the deployment, so it's the closest possible thing to get to.
Yeah.
Same thing if you've got vehicles. If you've got to drive across the entire battlefield in tanks to seize the objective, do not put it in the back corner. That doesn't make any fucking sense. Put it as close as you can, because it's going to be pretty iffy in 4 turns with the enemy fully firing at your tanks and shit. It's going to be pretty hard. I don't know how I would do this because my army's all foot slogging and Terminators and shit. If I didn't have deep striking line, I don't know how the fuck I would even. I guess
it'd be a challenge. It'd be a real challenge.
Like it says in the thing, it turns into a doomed stalemate that denies victory to either side, because you're just sitting back. You're both just making 1 point a turn off holding the enemy's objective in your deployment,
and just go for a draw, and then hopefully just plink enough points off something to have more units left, or
if they kill your general,
slay the warlord or something.
You got to kill their general. If they that's an interesting mission actually. That's, I guess, so you need to consider, if this mission comes up and you have all just infantry, you're fucked. You're never going to be able to.
Well, you just have to adjust how you play. If you're not going to get to theirs, if they're a super fast army, they're definitely coming to yours. So that's where you just set up to cover that thing by fire and don't let anybody grab it, and just have units to feed in to deny.
Interesting. Yeah. All right. Any other tactical advice for people in this one?
I don't know. A lot of these come down to assessing your strengths and assessing what the other player's probably going to do. If they've got a fast army, they're probably coming to your side of the table. So what are you going to do? Just castle up. Put the objectives in a hard-to-get place, somewhere where if it's an assault army that they can't assault multiples of your units, have them all spread out, so when they move on, instead of having 2 tack squads standing on that and 1 squad of 20 despoilers can engage them both, they're off the objective in 2 separate directions, so all that firepower is on the objective, so they have to choose to go one way or the other, or stand in the middle and just get gutted.
Yeah. I think like due to there only being 4 turns, all of these missions. I mean, this is the second last one. We're about to do the last one. I think all of these missions basically reward fast moving or things with alternate deployment that have line.
If you can scout, infiltrate,
infiltrating like recon troops, scouting or outflanking with scoring troops in some other way. Like I think recon can take rhinos and shit like that. Some armored assault lists and things like there's ways to get outflanking scoring shit. There's ways to get teleporting scoring shit.
Like drop pods are probably really handy for this one.
Yep,
especially handy.
And remember, tasteful use of drop pods. You don't need to go full drop pod. People hate full drop pod. People don't hate if you just have like 2 drop pods or 3 drop pods or something like that.
Well, one Carbitus full of Charybdis full of elite Terminators and a Praetor and a Primus Medicae.
Tasteful drop poddage is all I'm asking for.
Just one.
Have you seen anyone with that full termite assault yet? Running that full termite assault list?
No, never. No.
That could be interesting. Some of these missions, imagine like this one where you have to hold their thing and you just drill up underneath it with like 4.
Yeah, the entire
termites.
Army just pops up.
Yeah, and just put 40 fucking dudes on there. Interesting. Alright, last mission, Strike and Fade, Core Mission 5. Remember, this is the highest one you can get. The best generals can adapt to the shifting tides of war. And with this battle, and in this battle, they must keep pace with changing intelligence and shifting responsibilities to control the battlefield and defeat the foe. Sounds like some old-fashioned turkey hunt. So Tides of War at the end of each of their player turns, the active player scores a number of victory points equal to the current game turn number if they control the objective marker.
This one sounds the most interesting out of all of them.
Intriguing, yeah.
I haven't played this one.
Yeah, I don't think I've played this one either, actually. You know what? Once any player has scored victory points from the objective, it must be immediately scattered d6 plus 6. Oh, no, we have to play this, yeah. It must be immediately scattered d6 plus 6 inches as described in the rules for objectives. Players may also score victory points from the core mission sector objectives, and turn goes for 4 turns. Game goes for 4 turns. Before any models are deployed into the battlefield, a single objective must be placed at the center of the battlefield, or as close as it is possible. Blah, 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 blah. Once the objective marker has been placed, it should be scattered d6 plus 2 inches. This would, if this would place the objective marker off the table edge or an impassable terrain, then the player with strategic advantage must move the objective marker the minimum possible. Don't you have to put in the center and scatter it d6 plus 2? How could it possibly?
Because it moves every turn after you score it.
Oh, right. Okay. Right. Minimum possible distance in the direction of their choosing so that it's on the battlefield and not in an area of impossible terrain. If a hit symbol is rolled while scattering the objective marker, then the scatter dice must be re-rolled until a result that is not a hit is rolled. Oh, man.
Well, you got the little arrow on the hit dice. I'd just go, let's just use the little arrow.
That's true. A single objective marker must be placed. Yeah, so I have played this one. It's fucking super crazy, but this was like maybe the first of these new Siege missions we played, and we were too busy just fighting each other, and the objective was just sort of whatever. Which is of no help to people listening to this for any kind of tactical advice, I understand. But that's just what happened. Yeah, interesting. So this is very similar to the first, is it the first mission? No, the second mission, where it's just a harder battle where it's just set in the middle. This one's like moving around after you score it.
Yeah, and you want to be scoring it like at the end of the game.
Well, yeah, and you've got the increasing number of points as well. So in turn 4, it's with 4 VPs. That could just like if someone scored in the first 2 turns and made 3 points.
Yeah,
and then no one
win.
scores turn 3, you jump in on turn 4 and just be like, aha. And just remember, it is at the end of each of their player turns. So you have to be on it. You just have to move onto it, and then on that turn. And then you score at the end of your turn. So that's like definitely a good one. It's not you don't have to like sit on it and fucking guard it.
Yeah, I was confused. Like, I think that was the last scenario I played, which was one of the traditional games. How it was at the start.
Yeah, the start one is really annoying because that's like, yeah, you've got to really think about, like, do I want to expose my guys to fire, or, you know, like, that definitely like makes you put some fucking, gives you some fucking hard choices.
Yeah, you got to think. Yeah.
Got to use your old noggin. And so yeah, this one, you're basically going to end up with a scrum in the middle again because there's no reason for it not to be, because it's scattering like up to 12 inches. So I mean, you could also just end with it just scattering all the way onto your side, making it easier and easier for you to score. That's the other thing. So it's definitely like, it's hard to get, like, how the fuck do you give advice to this one, right? Like,
it's just
make sure you score for the entire, try and keep something scoring alive for the last turn so you can jump on it, hopefully.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you probably want to be, there's only so much you can control. Too bad if you're like poised to seize it and it moves that many inches away from you and you just physically can't get there.
Yeah, this is the most fucking random ass fucking crazy one of them all.
It's kind of like War of Lies. It's that version of it.
Yeah. So I think this one's probably the least tactical of them all, just because it.
I think it's got a more luck factor in it, because you could do everything right and just have that thing move away towards the enemy every single turn.
Yeah, but then once again, it still favors, like we were saying, those fast-moving scoring units. Like, it's not
definitely.
You know what? It's not going to be as useful for shit that where you have to place a marker. You know, like drop pod assault and all that sort of shit, or any of the ones where you got to place a marker, like outflank and stuff like that.
Yep.
Or like, even if you try and outflank next to it, there's a chance that it moves away. It could move towards you. That's the thing. But
it could not. That's the thing.
Yeah, you got more of a chance that it's going to move away from you. So that's another thing you got to factor in. So I guess, like, in terms of army, you should definitely learn from us. Go and if someone's running an event and it's Siege of Cthonia missions, or just a games day, or one of your mates says like, "Hey, yeah, you read Siege of Cthonia?" and you're like, "Nah," and he's like, "Oh yeah, we'll play some new Siege of Cthonia missions. Yeah, you'll love them. Yeah, don't worry. Like, I've got the rules. Go and borrow the book of someone before you go to their house, for God's sake, and read the rules before you get there.
It'll be more. You'll have a much better time.
Yeah,
you'll understand what's going on.
Yeah, don't start the game and then 3 turns in they go, "Oh, there's only 4 turns." Definitely read the rules. Think about each of the missions. The thing here's my advice is fast moving scoring shit. What's your advice, Michael?
I 100% agree with that. And also, shooting is king, because there's too much time spent moving around the tabletop to get into close combat. If you've got a squad of las cannons, you can be deleting squads from turn 1. Yep. Whereas if you've got a squad that has to foot slog at 2 turns to do 1 turn of combat, it's not good. Not good maths.
Yeah. Basically, it's like who's the dude that made the Transformers movies? Is it Michael
Bay?
Remember, like, he said he said if people aren't fucking or fighting on the screen, then it's just fucking useless time. So if you're not scoring or killing something like every turn, fuck you doing that. So you want fast moving shit that can move onto objectives and score. You want you also want like if you can't have that, then you want like super durable shit, cataphractii terminators, stuff like that. They can move onto an objective, teleport onto an objective, drive onto an objective. They can't tunnel, can they? Because they can't get in tunnels. But or breaches in termites that can things that are durable that can come up under the ground, push people off an objective,
shit,
and then survive like a counterattack or survive some shooting. Remember, you get to remove models. So you make sure you don't fucking remove those models that are closest to the objective. Take every other fucking possible model you can before you take the one next to the objective, because you might just have one guy left at the end of their turn and pass your fucking break test or runaway test or whatever, and then at the start of your turn you go, that's 3 V or whatever. Some of them are like 4 VPs and shit. That's VPs for me. Like, you basically just like your dudes just need to survive long enough to score. Things like tactical squads that where you get that 4+ fucking feel no pain if you've got a apothecary in there you're on an objective. 3+, 4+. Amazing. Stuff that so yeah, and you've got to think about both of those kinds of missions. There's some of the missions you have to survive a turn, some you can just jump on. So maybe even a mix, if you've got enough points, a mix of deep striking stuff and some jumps, assault marines or whatever.
Yeah, assault marines are pretty king. Like I used 10 assault marines in that thing, and I started them on the table nearly every time because they could actually, I didn't have to wait for them, and they could just get there.
Yep. Like a command. What are they called? What's the command squad? Yeah, command squad of Terminators with a banner that can fucking move onto objective via a vehicle or something like that. Also, something like a fucking biker HQ, like a motorcycle HQ, where they're in fucking Artificer. They've got a banner.
Yeah, that would be okay.
They've got a banner, so they're line, and they can just roll onto objective and score, and then fucking keep moving.
And then die probably.
Well, maybe, I guess. They're pretty expensive, are they? Like a fucking biker command squad. They're in 2+ armor.
Well, that's probably their only saving grace.
What's a bike gives you 2 wounds now? I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess. Yeah. Interesting. All right. Hold on. Before we go, Cecil wants to say something. Cecil has just been sitting in the chat. He's been listening when we recorded.
He's not going to defend fucking Foda, is he?
Hold on. I'll unmute. Oh yeah. Cecil.
Bloodscape him.
Yeah, he's sitting in the channel. Are you there?
Howdy. Well, there is a simple solution to this. There is a platform that moves pretty fast, shoots reasonably well, and is incredibly tough, and will lose you friends and make people hate you. And yes, it is the Foda list.
You're just here to represent Big Foda.
I fucking knew it. That's your answer to everything. How do I solve world hunger? Foda will just kill all the hungry people.
So I don't necessarily disagree with most of the comments that you guys have made. They're quite valid. The fact that the tables typically smaller helps out, though. Weapons like heavy bolters suddenly become a lot more viable as a cheap way of pushing horde units off. Even a group of 10 assault marines are going to have a bad time if they go running headlong into a unit.
It's like 40 shots.
Marines.
Yeah, it's a fuckload of shots.
Yeah.
What mission were we playing? The where you just shot my shit off the table, and I didn't even remember what mission we were playing. Do you remember which one of these it was?
Mission 3.
Yeah. What is that?
It was 3 tokens on the table, and it was a bad time for both of us.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Oh, for both of us. Yeah, right.
Well, I felt bad.
One of us
had horrible luck.
One of us had 13 dreadnoughts.
No, you didn't. You're just saying it now.
Oh fuck no! I told him to take back one of his turns because he literally didn't roll over a 2 the entire time, except for taking 2 leadership tests. In which case he rolled an 11 and a 12 for the distance run. And if he had have rolled 1 less number in either instance, he would have been fine.
Yeah, and my teleporting shit didn't come. I got shot off the table. But hey, do you remember though? There was one turn where your whole army of like 13 dreads or whatever it is, fucking shot every single thing into one of my 10-man cataphracti squads, and literally it took every single shot down to the very last shot to kill the very last wound of that guy.
Yep,
that was fucking so good. I was like, holy shit! I had really good luck on that. But yeah, Michael, like his entire... How many dreads is it, Cecil? It's like 13 or 14
6 contemptors and 3 boxes, and I had 2 levies.
Oh, so it's only 11? You sure?
Oh, and Dread Daddy, but Dread Daddy's close combat orientated.
Oh, okay. Well, so 11 dreadnoughts fired all of their las cannons, every single thing, into that one 10-man Tommy squad. And I just kept passing save after save after save, and it was like phosphex, all the las cannons, all the heavy bolters. Oh no, you got 2 Derrideas as well, so you do have 13.
Oh yeah, and the 2 Derros,
yeah. 2 Derrideas, all the missiles. It was literally down to like the last like fucking las cannon or something. Took the very last wound off. I was just like, yes, go boys.
I put everything I could into trying to push them off an objective because even though I play a photo list, I I still very heavily orientate around playing the mission.
Well, that's
Definitely have to win this.
That's definitely why I lost. All right.
But no, you guys do some excellent work. But yeah, guys, play the mission. Play the mission, and my last tip is play the bloody mission.
Play the mission and don't play against Photolis. Only if you want victory. I think
Live to become a villain.
Oh, Cecil's gone. All right, I think he won like every game. He definitely won against me. I think they won the last game against.
But yeah, he got best. He got best like whatever he was. Was he best trader? Wasn't he?
Ass kicker.
Yeah, I got thrown to the trader side to even out numbers.
Did you get an award though? Did you get an award for taking a photo and crushing everyone?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I won every game. The first matchup is the one I actually feel bad about. The rest of them, not so much.
Yeah, I was
like,
the first matchup.
I just I had a lot of interceptors, and the guy was running a flying list.
Oh, did you play against? Was it Dono?
Yeah, man.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, yeah. Next time Dono's on, we'll get him to tell his side of the story as well. But
It's a sad tale.
I think it's probably both going to be the same story, which is, oh yeah, Cecil just shot all my shit to death, like as it arrived. All right, cool. Okay,
Bought him lots of drinks.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. So it's all right to run photo.
Good times.
As long as you buy people drinks, and you can still get an award at some events if they, if they support Slaughter. All right. I think that's all for the missions. Hopefully there's been something of use in that last hour or so. I think definitely go away, check your list, make sure, just read through the missions again, think about how you're going to score, just visualize it. If you can't visualize how you're actually going to score in these missions, then you need to think about maybe changing your list.
Yeah,
but only if you
I
want
would
to win,
definitely change my list for this.
Yeah, you can concentrate on just tabling people, but remember, you only get one extra VP. If they can get some early scoring in, you're gonna need to carefully milk it so that you get some scoring in before you waste them. You want to destroy the units so that they're just down. Just shoot them in the leg a few times. Shoot them in both legs so they're not dead. They can't really go anywhere, and then you can just milk all 4 turns of points, and then just finish them off in the last round or something like that, I guess, if that's what you're into. Because those 4 rounds, once you get to the 4th round, you're going to be like, holy shit, is that it? What the fuck? Oh man, I was so close. And you'll be full of remorse. So yeah, go away, redesign your lists. They are very different from the main missions. If you have a different version of events though, where you just take your normal list and fucking just fly through these missions as well, really easily, and then yeah, let us know. Write in Eye of Horus Podcast at gmail.com. Okay, thanks for listening, guys. We'll be back. We've got more Warmonger episodes planned and more Eye of Horus Podcast episodes planned. We want to try and get the 2 team leaders plus Danny on to talk about Danny's event, the Quartermaster Invitational that we went away to, which is really
great weekend,
fun weekend. Yeah. So yeah, we'll definitely be doing an episode like that. I want to try and do it on a weekend night so that people can have some drinks while they're recording and stuff as well.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah. So we'll probably do that sometime in September. And then also Sean and Liam and I have been talking about more Necromunda stuff lately, so we've definitely started cranking out more Necromunda content as well. And then at some point, hopefully when Epic releases, whenever it does,
yeah, I'm super pumped for that.
Then we'll get more excited. But yeah, there's sort of been a big buzzkill on the Epic side of things. Everyone's just oh fuck, I'm so excited.
I think it is the greatest game ever made.
What,
on
Epic?
Any tabletop.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
It's a big call. There you go.
That's from someone who just shot everyone off the table with photo lists. So yeah, there you go. All right, awesome. Thanks, Michael. Thanks for co-hosting.
No worries.
And thanks to Cecil for just dipping in and out, giving his advice.
If you play against me, I get you drunk. That's my secret tactic.
There you go. Yeah, and Cecil's
That's my
running.
one.
Cecil's going to be running a crazy narrative table too at Geigenhive. Part of the ZM will be like, there'll be more details than that. But yeah, Cecil's got. We've got all sorts of plans. All right, cool. Fully painted.